Here's me 3 months later realizing that I haven't actually edited or recorded as much content as I would have liked for this internship series. But let's follow my journey. Every morning from home to work, I'd leave, get the train from Hayton Station, which these days actually includes the Elizabeth line, which is handy. I tend to try and spend my time on the train. Since it's an hour and a half, I try and be as guilt-free as possible. Now, I use the words guilt-free instead of productive on purpose because guilt-free might mean scrolling through, less of the Instagram and more of the LinkedIn, which as much as I didn't really do that, I try and write my comedy sets or anything else. The principle of not wasting time or not feeling guilty for time wasted is all that I'm kind of going for. Walking out of the station, you can see again, I've got the flashy look. In my internship, we were allowed to wear whatever we wanted on Fridays. It was like a dress down Friday, so here I am wearing like Vans and stuff. The Arsenal branded Oyster card because I take the badge everywhere I go. So whether I'm working on this internship, heading to bank every morning or going to uni, I tend to be in front of a screen. I try and take a 9 to 5 approach so I'm always productive, working towards a timeline. I like to start and end my day by walking home, listening to a podcast, trying to water the office plants. But otherwise, during the daytime, it's just head down, headphones on, and get into business. One thing that got a bit tedious about my building is that you have to tap into every door to go into each office or to each space, which is especially difficult in the morning when you're carrying a bowl full of breakfast and some coffee. But, you get your coffee in early in the morning. It was nice to have access to free breakfast. And during this internship, I actually had a very good set of perks. We had a gym downstairs, people did yoga, different well-being types of things, massages every alternating week. Again, as mentioned, I didn't really record as much content as I would have liked, and this is after I handed in my laptop and my fob, so you can see me peeking in some of the offices. No one's really in the office this day. Okay, so first of all, Happy New Year. I realized editing this that I didn't actually talk about what I did in my day-to-day. It was mostly just me like going around. So let me quickly explain kind of what I did on just a regular day. In the future, I'm going to make a video saying like talking about what consultants actually do, kind of more from like a higher level perspective. But what did I actually do during my internship as a consultant? So my personal calendar will have you believe that it was very quite samey, just work. I had the odd thing like people's last days at work, different meetings, counselling, graduation parties on the weekend here. But I was, as you can see from here, at least it's working 9:30 till 5:30. It very much was that sort of timetable. The day-to-day will kind of include, you try and get in a little bit early because you spend some time going through emails from the previous day. And then the vast majority of your day is because it's client focused and project oriented, you end up making time yourself. There can be days where you have no clients, you don't do any client work. There can be days where you have like it's close to a deadline, lots of stuff to do, a lot of like data analysis, writing reports. You spend time in and out of meetings here, speaking to people here. I was, as an intern, I had a lot of training, or there was a lot of like things you had to do that were kind of like mandatory admin stuff. Kind of just learning how to do the actual job, be it like Excel training, PowerPoint training. It turns out I'm not actually as good at using these programs as you would think. I mean, I can use Excel, but a lot of like functions and like specific features that businesses use that you're not really taught about in school. Not really taught about anyway, to be fair. You kind of have to pick up on the job. My company provided breakfast. I think a lot of consultancies kind of do quite similar stuff. They really care about the whole well-being aspect of work. But you come in a bit early. I get my breakfast, run through some emails, and then the first half of the day is usually like doing client calls. We have some clients that are in Europe. And in the UK, we're like obviously a bit behind in terms of time-wise. We were obviously an hour ahead than we, everyone, the British summertime, during the summer. But it still meant making calls early. Within our company, we have an Amsterdam-based team and a London-based team. And obviously Amsterdam were an hour ahead. So having to make calls with those people, our consultants over there, meant that you tend to do things earlier in the day so you're not like holding them up afterwards. Just before lunch, you typically have some sort of like catch-up. And you take like an hour lunch, which varies. I think most of the time I take it between 12:30 and 1:30, as in like I go around those times, and I come back obviously around like 1:30 or 2, 2:30. Sometimes we had people come in, whether it be not. I didn't have any. I wasn't really. I was doing client work, but I didn't have my own clients. Obviously, I'm an intern. But if people came from other offices or from like different parts of the business, sometimes you have like lunches with other people. So you go out to like the local park or something. So that might take a little bit longer. Then you find yourself staying a little bit longer as well. I think the evenings is where you do the bulk part of your work, because usually if you have meetings or specific training, they will happen in the afternoon or in the morning, obviously with some sort of leeway. So the afternoon, at least in my perspective, is when I spend most of the time doing work. I think I'm quite an evening person anyways. I don't really get productive until after lunch. So I'll spend those hours kind of just plugging away, getting things done, asking the questions I needed to, provided that I got the necessary guidance and steps in the morning shift, or the morning part of the shift anyways, to kind of structure my day and figure out what I'm going to do, making sure that it's all done in time for going home at 5:30. Most people tending to leave at 5:30 anyways, maybe no more than like an extra hour later. I think I found myself being one of the latest to leave most days. Not because I'm like super committed to work, but because I am actually. I'm committed to work. I think for me, I often leave. To be fair, there are many reasons why I kind of stayed a bit later. I think living in London and working in London, the commute home is like an hour and a half, so I'd often spend time. I didn't want to get the first rush hour train. I'd stay until like 6-7 just so I can get like a quieter train, especially during the train strikes, the heat wave. Like this summer was a bit crazy. So I tried to find ways to maximize not just my getting the most work done, but also to minimize the time I spend stressed out on a train, getting a seat, things like that. So very chill, all things considered. The closer you get to like client meetings, or if you have to do like a specific task, you're going to show them how this tool works. Those days will be the more of the stressful ones because you want to make sure everything's perfect. Going through the PowerPoint, going through the data, making sure everything actually makes sense. You can present it in a coherent, structured way. Otherwise, you're mostly just plugging away at tasks that you kind of make for yourself. I spent a lot of time using like so personally I use Google because I've got Google Pixel, and most of my life's kind of just built around a Google platform. But at work it was using Outlook, so my Outlook calendar will be filled with things like work time, lunchtime, meeting this person, meeting that person, client call, presentation, training, whatever it may be. And you kind of structure your day on your own, so it varies in terms of intensity, but very self-organized. One thing that I like working in London, in central London even, is that we have banks literally everywhere. Right here is the Bank of China. You got Tesla Model 3 right here. Looking lit. Like, as I've mentioned throughout the course of the video, I've already finished work. So I just came in today to return my laptop. Unfortunately, I couldn't go upstairs to get better content, but yeah, it's a nice place to be. I can talk about what consultants do on a day-to-day in another video. I might do an entire video talks about what a consultant actually does. But throughout my internship as a ESG consultant, I spent a lot of time looking at ESG related metrics, be it environmental traits, social traits, and governance traits. Social traits are more like the employees you have, the male to female ratio, if people are getting paid adequately, there's good health and safety standards, what are the raw materials and supply chains saying in terms of environment. So a lot of fun, interesting stuff. A lot of Excel, a lot of research, and a lot of data. The job is very client project focused. So I spend time doing research, writing reports, liaising with other consultants in the office, and researching industries and companies to understand what each and every individual company or investment fund has in terms of an average benchmark or what the individual standards are. I was very fortunate in this internship to get the chance to go to Amsterdam, where I got my own room, did a lot of training exercises to understand what sustainability and the state of carbon is like in the modern society in 2022 and going forward. And then just going home, you can see me walking down little Venice ends, walking through London, getting some more of the city in my system on a day-to-day. I was actually working for 12 weeks as an intern, so it was a lot of time to try new things, salsa, different classes, go to different parts of the city, which we can explore in detail another day. So with that, I embark on my hour-and-a-half Elizabeth line journey home, writing some more comedy sets and getting ready to do it all again tomorrow.